Welcome to week 3 peer review assignment for Coursera's Introduction to Music Production course. My name is Nima and I will be focusing on creating a submix in Ableton Live. The benefit of a submix on the one hand can be saving on CPU usage as well as gaining a more clear visual interface when you're working on your projects. With the CPU usage efficiency, it comes into play if you want to apply, for example, a common effect across multiple tracks. That way, if you combine them into one submix track, then apply that common effect, you will be saving on CPU usage as well as having a more easier and clearer way to modify the parameters of that effect, as opposed to individually applying them to each track and then individually revising those. In other applications, you could simply combine tracks into one submix track to save on your visual interface space and have a more clear interface to work with. Now here for this example, I've created a drum track, a bass line, and a percussion loop, and we'll go ahead and listen to them separately. The drum loop starts first and builds up with the percussion loop, then the bass line comes in. Now let's say I was done editing these tracks individually. For example, in the mixer view you could see that the volumes are separately distributed, as well as the pans for the bass line and the percussion. And I've also applied a specific effect that I only wanted applied to the bass line before I apply the common effects to all three tracks. Now in Ableton, the default output for each track is the master track, as you can see. Now if I go ahead and create my submix track by basically creating a new track and renaming it submix, when I go to the output drop down of the other lines, submix appears, so I select that instead of master for those three tracks that I would like to combine, and I select no input for the submix track so that I don't get any sort of feedback if I'm only trying to combine these tracks that are being outputted to the submix. I record arm the submix track as well as the entire project, and I start recording. As you can see, the submix track is recording all three previous tracks into one track. And if I stop that and I solo the submix track just to listen to the recording, you can hear the three tracks combined into one. This way, when I go to apply effects to all those three different loops, I could only apply it to the submix track. So for example, let's say I wanted to apply a specific drum effect that I did desire for it to be applied to all those three sounds. Now let's hear it back. So that effect now applies to this submix track, which modifies all the sounds, and if I wanted to add additional effects, I could do that. Or if I wanted to modify the parameters of this effect, I only do it once to the submix effect, to the submix track. As such. And that's how you create a submix and only add effects or otherwise combine a number of tracks into one track for more efficient processing of your project, as well as a more efficient usage of your CPU. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and I look forward to your feedback.